Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Marketing Roundtable, a digital marketing podcast. My name is Brendan Jones, and I am the producer along with the paid media strategist, and I'm going to hand it over to Brian Cosgrove, the host for today.
Hi, I'm Brian Cosgrove, principal at BrainDo and an analytics strategist. And I'm here to speak with Biswajit Chakraborty.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me, especially Brian and Brandon.
Absolutely.
Brian just mentioned my name is Biswajit Chakraborty, but you can call me Biz. I spent over 14 years at the intersection of digital marketing and technology, focusing on transforming digital landscape. I've been with Adobe over a decade. My current designation is Managing Principal Enterprise Architect, which is a mouthful. So, in a nutshell, my role is a marketing technology solution architect. That means I help to build architecture for a marketing technology solution. Also, I am a manager, and there are multiple other architects who reports to me, does the same thing.
All right. So, Biz, great to see you. I was really happy to see you at the Web Analytics Wednesday event that we had in Philadelphia. You presented some pretty amazing things there. And I know, while we were there, we had talked a little bit about your journey to kind of get to this enterprise architect level. How did you become a principal enterprise architect at Adobe? Where did you start off?
That's a interesting question. So let's start my journey. So I started with my journey from India. So I did my master's of computer application from India, one of the renowned college called Vellore Institute of Technology, and then
Nice.
moved to a company. I'm not sure if you know, that's called Cognizant Technology Solutions. So uh, I worked with CTS for like 2 years, then moved to Adobe. So one of the unique thing of that particular move is uh, Adobe historically used to have Adobe's consulting practice based out of US.
Mm-hmm.
But that is the
Great.
first time Adobe started its consulting practice based out of India. And I was one of the first Adobe India consulting or consultants. I would say, especially that time I was focusing on Adobe Analytics.
Right.
So,
Right. Was it
Adobe
still Omniture back then?
Omniture or Site Catalyst,
Site
different names.
Catalyst. Okay.
Adobe changes the name, so it was for
Yes.
Site Catalyst, then Omniture. I think it was Omniture, Site Catalyst, and then Adobe Analytics. So when I joined in 2013, it was like a 10, 15 people team in Adobe India. Now it is more than 1,000. So
Okay. All right.
So then in 2015, I moved to this Philadelphia, uh,
Yeah.
especially for one of the big telecom company based out of Philadelphia.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
was uh, Adobe's customers. I was one of the first consultant from Adobe who was sitting on customer location 5 days a week. Uh,
Okay.
that was a unique experience, I would say. Most of the time, Adobe's consultants are like traveling or uh, in remote basis, but that was one of the place where me and few other folks were sitting on customer locations 5 days a week. So during that time, I think uh, we discussed during our uh, that webinar that when I came first time, one of my colleagues said, "Okay, your name is Biswajit Chakraborty. It is too tough to pronounce. From today, you are base."
It is. Okay.
So
So,
from that day, I became base, and from there, I started learning other Adobe solutions like Adobe Target for website personalizations, Adobe Audience Manager for creating, building audiences, and from there moved to this enterprise architecture role where Adobe started with this Adobe Experience Platform as the new customer data platforms system. And I now became or I think 2 years ago, I became the principal enterprise architect, where
okay.
I'm working with uh, Adobe Experience Platform, all the other application services that Adobe Experience Platform has. And that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So you started off in India, you had gotten your master's degree. Somehow you landed one of these early positions with Adobe when they barely had anybody there. And then you were able to move within 2 years from being one of the few people in India that's doing this to being on site in Philadelphia, halfway across the world. And you are now on site 5 days a week doing this work. Kind of, even though you're technically the company, right? The software company, you're so ingrained at that point that you're almost operating like you're part of you know, their customer, right? You're part of this telecom company because it forces you, if you're on site like that, to get into their politics and how do things get done here and which department does what and what tickets do we need to use. So tell me a little bit about that to kind of go from, all right, you got a couple of years of experience consulting as part of Adobe. And now here you are, and you are on site 5 days a week in this other company, in this telecom company, learning their business and trying to figure out how to keep all of your software program moving.
Yeah, that's superbly, like I would say, uh, it's an eye opener. When I started with Adobe India, it was all the customers I had, like remote customers, or I would say I was remotely, and all the customers were based out of US. And uh, it was over the phone and then giving solutions to their certain
Yeah.
problem. Now, suddenly I came 5 days a week, and now my responsibility is to make our Adobe solutions implemented across all their like departments. They are
Yeah.
like consumer, they are business. They opened a new system or new business units called mobile or wireless system, and my responsibility was to make sure go and talk to all the teams
Yeah.
and implement this Adobe Analytics everywhere. So I felt that that was an unique experience where I was able to handle and also learn how to handle different teams. So I first started with the marketing team, talking to them what is their marketing goal, and then took those marketing goals to the technology team. Said that okay, this is their marketing goal. Come and do this implementation. Marketing team says okay, I don't have those requirement.
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, let's bring both of them in the same room and said, okay, tell the requirement to each other. So I am sitting in the middle, jailing between both the teams and trying to convince them why this is important. And that's how I started this like role, I would say.
Yeah. It's so interesting because it kind of forces you to think about the company's politics, the company, like how do they work? How do things get done here? And it's so much bigger than just being like, hey, I got the best training or I know this tool really well. It's like you now know the reality of what it's like to actually get the tool working on site where it needs to happen. Instead of just saying, hey, if you have a problem, you can call me, you're now proactively trying to get the projects done. So to me, that's just it's really interesting. And it feels like it's also a big shift beyond just being sort of a product expert. Like,
Absolutely correct. So it's like a product expert is always with me, but like handling people at different nuances of the businesses. What is their business goals, and understanding that prioritizing which one should be going first was really eye opener. And also, I would say handling people was the most learning things during this period.
yeah, yeah, it seems like that's the part they don't necessarily teach you in in your master's degree, or they don't teach you, sometimes when you're on the support side, you don't get that exposure at that
Exactly.
level.
Yep.
Okay, so then from there you went to okay, so now you've been working on site at this telecom company for a while. And but you've taken on more clients and more companies that you've been working with beyond that. Tell me about sort of, how that progression, that chapter of your career.
Great. Yeah. So before telling that, I need to tell some of these things that happened during my career. Like when you come from another country to the US, you are in a visa. So,
Right.
so after 5 years, my visa got expired. So I had to go back to another country. So in this case, my company said, okay, you are a good person. You're working nicely with Adobe. So let's send you back to Canada for a year. So I was, so that's how I came out of this project. That is the primary reason. My visa was over, and I can't stay here in the US. I can't stay here 5 days a week with these customers, so I have to go out. So I started taking other customers, and also moved out of the country. So in 20, I moved out of the country, and immediately I moved out of the country, the COVID hit.
Of
2020.
course.
So I 2020 January, I went to Canada, and 2020 March, everything's locked down. Uh, so that time I was actually traveling to another telecom company based out of New Jersey, and I was
Yeah.
in and out in flight from Canada to there and coming back. But suddenly this COVID hit, and then I didn't need to travel. Everything is over the phone. So I started understanding more about remote work
Hmm.
because I was always, at first I was remote from India, but later when 5 years I was with this customer in Philadelphia, it was a different experience. Now with COVID, the experience totally changed. Now we need to again work on remote, but this time, as I have grown up in my career, my goal was totally providing business values
Right.
with different solutions. So that's then I started with this another New Jersey-based telecom customer. And then I have taken multiple other customers, like some retail customers, some hotel chains,
Yeah.
and that's how I started diversifying my knowledge and skills through that.
So that's great. So now you've got different industries. You've got telecom. You've got, like you said, different retail or hotel hospitality. So you've kind of gone through there. They all have different kinds of websites, different kinds of apps, different kinds of challenges in marketing, and with regard to customer experience. In this case, you're still working with Adobe, so you have obviously a pretty big idea, sort of a lot of playbooks on how to put together different sorts of programs. Did you find as you were moving between them that you were using sort of different Adobe products, or you're using Adobe products differently in one industry versus another? Like how did, you know, d- how did things translate or where priorities changed?
So, as I was telling, when I moved to Canada, I already became the architect by then, and I already started working on Adobe Experience Platform as an
Right.
CDP. So by then, CDP came to the picture,
CDP.
customer data platform, and that is the time like all the different customer data platforms started coming. Not only Adobe, Adobe's competitors started bringing a lot of these tools. Uh, and that time when I became an architect, I started thinking about not tool wise. I changed my thought process instead of tool, thinking about the business values. Why a customer is getting this CDP and what is their business goal with this CDP. And that's how I started changing. So instead of using the tool, thinking about the business values and drilling down to a different level called use case. So from the business value, moving to the use case, then going to the technological capabilities. So like that's how I changed my approach. So instead of earlier when I was here in the Philly, uh, then I was thinking about more on a technological side. As I became an enterprise architect, I was thinking about more providing business value. So as you would ask the questions about how my approach changed with different customers, I totally changed my technological landscape thought process at the first. I changed it to the business objective as the first, and then derive the technological capabilities. Hope that answers the question.
It does. It definitely does, but it's still it deserves to be leaned into. So I'd like you to kind of explain a little bit about what are the kinds of major projects that these MarTech tools. And so I'm just going to mention a few different pieces that we've talked about. So Adobe Analytics, I'm thinking more like clickstream. How many people come to your website? Where did they come from? What did they do when they were on your website? And that could also be your apps as well. We've got the CDP. Now, before we talked about the customer data platforms, people had email systems and people had other databases with some of their customer details in them. But the CDP kind of brought a way to centralize it for marketing use, for offers, for personalization and other types of things. And it sort of organized it for that use case. We've got other tools around testing. I'm going to show this version or that version. Which version seems to be getting better results? I know Adobe has solutions there. You've mentioned audiences earlier. So now here's a group of people that have done a certain action or are eligible for a certain piece. And now we can send them emails or offers, through through various channels. Can you kind of tell me, with all of these different tools and MarTech platforms, when you're talking about putting together, maximizing business value, how do these come together? Like, and as an enterprise architect, what do you prioritize, when you're talking to the customer and they're saying, we want our existing customers to subscribe to this service, or we want our existing customers to use our self-service platforms or something like that. How would you kind of take these pieces and turn them into a roadmap or a solution? How would you architect?
Yeah, that's a really, really great question. Before, when we talk about Adobe Experience Cloud, I always give this example. The example is of a city. So think like Adobe Experience Cloud is a city. So in a city, you have roads, right? Which is same as like data flow. You bring that data. Okay. You have different buildings, okay, which is like different content system, like you're building a content. Okay. So that is that different services like a personalization engines, okay,
Right.
where you just talked about targeting, A/B testing and all. So that is the different services. So we as an architect is gelling between all the systems and connecting them to give a business value. So that's the core goal of an architect. So giving an example, let's give an example of, or a real-time example of a retail customer. So if a retail customer would like to do or target a person if they have added something to cart, which is sometimes we say abundant cart use case, okay, an easy use case. So what generally it works is you need to think about there are multiple components, as I said. The first component is the data, identifying who abandoned that card. Okay. So gathering that information and storing somewhere. For Adobe's purpose, it is Adobe Experience Platform that unifies that per set of people who has abandoned a card. Okay. So that is the data. Next is the content. So if the person abandoned a card, what should I send? Should I send a banner next time come to the website, or should I send an email? Which channel, right?
So here's a question. Who are all the people? Let's talk about the village of people involved. So you're the architect. Are you sometimes kind of coming up with whether it should be a banner or, are you coaching them through the process, saying, this is how this experience could work? Or who do you interface with?
Yeah, there are multiple set of people we interface with. One is the data engineers. They build data.
So you have
One
the
is,
data engineers
yeah,
but they need requirements.
they need requirements. So first, that's why I always say that thinking about the business objectives, the use case. So if the use case is abandoned cart use case, so then the requirement is fine. Like all the people who abandoned a cart. So find out those information from somewhere. It could be from website. It could be from other sources. Maybe just giving an example from website. So if it is from website, we'll get the data from website with a data engineer. Then I will guide the data engineer, hey, this is how you need to bring the data, and this should be uniquely identifying this set of people. And that's how you should store it inside Adobe Experience Platform. So that is the data pillar.
Right.
Once that is done, we need to go and talk to the content team. So
Yes.
content team could be the customers who has their own content business, or they might be using Adobe's content management system, which is called AEM. So we can talk to them and say that, okay, based on this particular use case, I will send a banner, or I create a banner. That banner will be usable for both the places, for email, sending an email, and if they come to the website again, we'll use the same banner.
Okay.
Content we have called asset management. We will have a unifying asset, and
Asset
that
management
content or
systems.
image can be used in multiple purpose.
Right. So, but before all of that, there's that part where someone just says, "Hey, a banner, putting a banner in front of somebody is the right way to kind of affect this behavior, to offer someone, or nudge someone in the right direction." And so, how do you, I guess, like, is it a marketing person? Is it a just who do you start with? That's the business stakeholder that says, "I just need this done."
Yeah, generally it starts from the top down approach. A lot of time, a lot of customers, the
Right.
marketing lead or marketing executive said that, okay, I want to grow this business by certain amount of number, and
Yeah.
based on that, we derive different use cases. One of these use cases is the abundant cart use case. And they said, okay, let's test and find out if it is usable or it is useful to send an email or versus doing the website. Okay, so
Right.
we can create a journey of that customer saying that, hey, first we'll send an email. If they don't react on the email, we'll do if they come to the website, I'll show the personalized image, something like that. So that's the power of Adobe Experience Platform, having the unique set of data with multiple journeys. Like you can send an email, post the
Yeah.
email, you can say show it everything to the websites. But generally, it starts with the customer marketing team.
That makes sense. And then obviously they don't always know all the capabilities that you're able to pull off. So there's somewhere in there where it's like you're asking them, "What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve?" And then uh, you know, and then they're telling you kind of these vague requirements, and you're like, "Well, we could put a banner here, we could do something over here. There's all these different ways we could express, that idea, that we could drive that outcome." And then obviously you have to get some approval with them to say, "Hey, let's go, let's move forward on these different items." And then that's when it sounds like you go to data, content, and then uh, is there another pillar? I guess
Journey.
it's
The journey is the
the journey itself. And the journey is just the rules, right? Is that the rules of when to show the content based on the data?
based on the data. Yes, that is correct. So uh, again, it starts with the business requirement, as I just mentioned.
Yeah.
But when we talk about the business requirement, we also clearly tell that you may not be able to achieve everything in the first go. So let's do a stagging approach, like crawl, walk, run approach, like create a roadmap for a little bit 6 month period of roadmap, and
Right.
say for the first 1 or 2 months we'll try to do a quick turnaround and see how the system works, okay, how we can personalize, and then build upon it a bigger personalized journey. So that's how I always take an approach, like having crawl and walk run approach.
That makes sense. So you dip your toe into the water here, you get something going that's personalized, and then you're building out a more robust always on system. It
Yeah,
sounds
one of the primary reason is, to be very honest, though I'm from Adobe, I'll tell that like uh, sometime what happens, some of our customers, they think from the technology first and they try to build the capabilities. Look, they try to integrate our Adobe's experience platform with their CRM systems and then try to do it with some other systems and getting their billing data inside. And by then 6 months are over and they're not getting the value of that tool, okay, then their business teams comes and say that, hey, I'm spending so much money and not getting enough return on investment. So that's what I always think of, having a crawl, walk, run approach. Start
Yeah.
with at least small use case, showcase the value. Okay, this tool is working. It
Right.
to be matured. So then get another, first use a very simple use case, like uh, next time the person comes, I'll change the website banner. Then I increase that use case. Okay, next time the person comes, I'll use a banner as well as I'll send an email.
Right.
So like grow upon that previous experience.
And then when it comes to the data side of that, do you build that out over time? Are you just saying like, look, I'm going to do the first case here and I'm going to get just the data I need to do this to get started. And then I'm going to need more data later. And we can build that out in parallel or in the background while at least the customer is getting some, in this case, the company is getting some benefit.
Agree. It's an agile method instead of a like waterfall. So
Right.
as I always like to give value to the customer with an agile method. So
Yeah.
first do something with the
Yes.
we have,
Yeah.
and then build up on it.
So we
Because
have some ROI at least before 6 months is over. And you're
correct,
like, we just paid for this for 6 months and we still
yeah,
don't have a lot of value yet. Okay.
correct. So that's what we faced with a lot of customers. And that's how we started changing our approach, saying that okay, don't boil the ocean. Instead, start with a small use case, activate that, and show value, and then get more funding and bring more data. Because what happens a lot of time, a set of customers or a set of group in a customer, they pay for this particular tool. A lot of other team members, they're thinking, okay, why should I work for this particular use case? That is not my business goal right now.
Yeah.
So to do that, like this, breaking these silos, right? So first showcase some values, and then it will go to their higher level, say that okay, now we are getting value out of it. And then that particular executive will talk to the technology team. Okay, save this data, and then we'll get more data and build up on it. That's how it.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So yeah, I always think about the people. I feel like, in certain cases, if the client or the company doesn't have the right people to interface with you, or you don't have the right development support to get the data, or you don't have the right creative support to develop the content, you end up in there's lots of possibilities for bottlenecks. And if you have people that just want to, like you said, they want to bring all their CRM data and they want to do everything data wise before they do anything and execute anything, then you end up in these timeline challenges where you're like, you're paying money, but you're not getting the return that would help you pay for this,
For
the
this.
right, for all of this. And it is a long-term investment, you would say, right? I mean,
Yeah,
to set
it is
this
long.
up, you get more benefit over time. The longer that you have it, the more completely it starts to become integrated. And even the more trained, I guess, your team is on it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, there are always this people, process, and technology aspect, right? So when we are thinking about a marketing tool, people is very important. There are process and technologies, but having a mindset of personalization first is very important. And quick small goals and achieving those goals will build upon of all your personalization goal. So like if an executive is saying, okay, my goal is personalization first, but still they need to show some value to their executives, saying that okay, how we are growing up on this personalization goal. So as we executed these use cases, we are getting more data, and the data is making mature. We are making more unified profile, and then we can target more people and
Yeah.
more different channels, different use cases.
This podcast is powered by BrainDo, a digital marketing agency that not only provides a diverse mix of digital services, but offers guidance, experience, and true partnership to bring your business to the next level. We offer expertise in analytics, paid media, web development, SEO, and design, just to name a few. We've worked with businesses on every level, from local operations to Fortune 500 companies across a variety of industries. We have expertise to help strategize and execute your digital marketing needs no matter what step in the process you're at. We're there for you. From wireframes to paid campaigns. BrainDo, experts in everything digital. Please reach out today to learn more about how we can help your business grow.
So obviously you're an enterprise architect. You kind of know these tools backwards and forwards. I imagine that sometimes you deal with some executives that are just like, I want personalization. And you're like, that could be a million things. How do you help them put together a program where they can prioritize where to begin and how to get things going? How do you demonstrate that when they said, "Hey, I vaguely want personalization," and you're like, you turn it into tactical, specific things that provide business value? Do you find yourself negotiating with different product managers, or who are the people that you kind of need to work with to make that happen?
Yeah, so when we this kind of discussion comes with the like giving let's give an example. If any uh, hotel
Any
chain is saying,
Okay,
okay, I want to personalize customer once they come to my hotel. Okay,
okay,
customer.
s-
Okay, so
okay,
let's take that example. Then we say that which kind of personalization do you want? Okay,
yeah, yeah,
we want to personalize where? What is the medium? So we need to drill down different sections, and
right,
based on that, we'll see what are the capabilities we have in our product. Okay. So giving an example that worked with one of the hotel chain, and they did one personalization in the inside hotel TV. So
okay.
one
So the hotel TV monitor.
TV monitor.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
like if you are already a loyalty customer, uh, so next you go and swipe your card to the hotel and switch on the TV, you will see, hey, this name and welcome to this hotel. Okay, that is sometimes very like I feel uh, very nicely personalized and bringing those people said, oh, my name is here, so they know me. So
Right. It feels.
feel personal. So in
Yeah.
that case, the how we have done, so the business, that particular hotel business will say that, okay, we want to do personalization once the person comes to the hotel. Okay, how? And even before how we first asked why do you want to do that, so
Right.
they said okay, these are the reasons because I feel people will feel more personal when they'll come to the hotel. Okay, that's a valid reason. Now how we will do that and what are
Yeah.
the different channels, and based on that we'll derive all the different small use cases and then try to execute one-on-one use case. uh, and if that particular feature is not available in that product, go to the product manager and say that okay, customer wants this and how can you prioritize this
Mhm.
use case in the product, something like that. That's how we deal with it.
So, and I think it's so interesting. So, when they do something like that, how do they know it worked? And I know that's it's like, okay, great. Now it says, welcome, Biz, and you're like, okay, great. We did it. Do they ever ask you questions on like, do they do surveys? Like, how did they kind of triangulate? Was that the right way to do it, or could we use different colors? Like, how do you navigate that? That
Yeah, so there are multiple ways. After that, the first thing about doing any journeys or any personalization journey is the measurement. Like which you just asked a question. So Adobe has a tool called Customer Journey Analytics, which is an omni-channel measurement system. So from any set of data, we can bring, unify the information and said, okay, this is the report, okay, the measurement report. Now coming exactly how to show the success of that, there are multiple ways. So like for this particular hotel business, they say that I'm going to send a survey after the hotel checkout.
Sure.
And we used to bring those survey data directly inside Adobe Experience platform and report using customer journey analytics and show that, okay, this is how their NPS score has increased. So NPS is one of the key
Yeah. The net
uh,
promoter score.
net
Yep.
promoter
Yep.
score was
So
one of
it's would you recommend this to someone else, right? That's the general question. Okay.
correct. Yes. So, and
Yeah.
that was, and we actually found out that this particular hotel chain got a really good NPS score, which was more than 8. That,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that
So
was
most
actually,
people would recommend them.
yeah,
And that personalization was part of the driving factor.
correct. And
So
another
that's
thing you said that, like, should we use this color versus that color? So
right.
that is generally we use one of our tool called Adobe Target. So that actually can easily do A/B testing or multivariate testing, and it can give a report which one was more successful, and we tie that report with this NPS score, Net Promoter Score, inside customer journey analytics, and show
So
that,
the
okay,
red ones and the green ones and
yeah,
and so we take this version and we look at the NPS scores of those people, and we take
correct.
that version, we look at the NPS scores of those people, and we say this one's getting better scores. This is the version we're going with.
That is
Okay.
correct. That's how we do it, and that's how we can tell that, okay, going forward, this red one is the winner. So going forward, everybody will get this red one, something like that.
Okay. All right. So that's exciting. Now, this all leads back to the data. So a hotel chain, a lot of times, they have like rewards and loyalty accounts. So, are you a first tier level or, the gold, platinum, whatever, whatever their system looks like. Um, so that's when they get a lot of this information. But there are still a lot of businesses out there that don't have a ton of information about their customers. If they didn't already have this legacy loyalty program. And it seems like that's becoming more and more important. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that?
So as the main it as this time progressing with cookieless world. So let me give you quickly information about cookieless. So the website, when you go to any website sets a cookie in your browser, which is like a small code, tell that, okay, uniquely identify you every time you come to that website.
Yeah.
So earlier, most of the browser used to support third-party cookie. So what is the meaning of third-party cookie is that if you go from one website to another website, you can still identify that person. Now,
Right.
third-party cookies are going away. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
As third-party cookies are going away, it is becoming harder and harder to identify a person cross-domain from one website to another website. So that's why getting first-party data is very important.
Right. So the fact that you were on a site that maybe shows an interest category, you were on a site looking at, about vacation, spas or something like that, and then you come to this hotel site, we would love to know and promote, why don't you look at our spa services? But we can't really get that information from the other sites. We don't have a way to exchange that with them without these third party cookies. So that means that we just certain things that might have been possible 10 years ago, 15 years ago just aren't possible now. Is that
Yeah,
that's
there are
it?
two ways of doing that. One, there are some data providers, or it's called a probabilistic matching data provider. Like if you heard about Axiom or Markle, they generally provide probabilistic data. Say that,
Yes.
okay, maybe Biswajit have such spa. They don't know if it is Biswajit, maybe Biswajit has such spa. So based on that, you can show an ad. So that's called like a data provider. But generally, because these third-party cookies are not there, or not going to be there in the future, uh, it is very important to have a first-party data collection, having some reward-based system. We always say having a reward, like provide your email address and interest, I'll give you 10% discount. something like that.
Yes.
Uh,
I mean, we're moving in a world where privacy is very important to people, and they don't want this site knowing information from that site. They're less interested in that, and it sounds, a lot of the browsers, Apple, Google, and other organizations, they've restricted some of that communications.
I
So
wouldn't say Google so far. Google still have this third-party
they still
cookie,
have some third-party cookie. Yeah,
but Apple is very strict with that. So that's why, especially Apple launched a few years ago called ITP, Internet Tracking Prevention,
yep.
but they stopped all this cross-domain tracking. So no more
Yeah.
cross-domain tracking
There's
in
no
Apple.
cross domain.
And if you think like Apple,
Yeah.
all the mobile browsers. So in the US, more than 50% people uses iPhone.
Yes.
All their iPhone browsers are part of that. So people think that mobile is very less, but mobile is not less. We have done analysis and we have seen that a lot of customers' data has around 50% of Safari users. They are mainly coming from the mobile devices. So uh, we need to think about those set of people and how to personalize them. And I think, as we were talking earlier, about some rewarding system, like, hey, I will give you some kind of reward, and you share some of your data with us so that we can personalize something like that.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you know more about the whole idea of customer journeys means you kind of need to know who the customer is. And so, to that point, giving them some reason to have a direct relationship with you means that they have your data. It's not, they can have your data and just use it only for the purpose of providing you better service. But you need to come up with or invent a reason why they would want to log in or authenticate with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then that unlocks all the different ways that you could send a nice little signal to them that, hey, this is a little more custom for you. Um, what are some other really interesting things besides, I think that was a really good example that you used for personalization with the hotel piece, where people don't even think beyond the web or email, like they don't even think about, well, what about the monitor in the hotel room? What are some other, I guess, interesting executions just where, okay, you said they're doing it right. They're doing personalization really well.
Uh, Before even telling the right, I will tell the wrong. Okay, so I'll tell my
Okay.
experience.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
a few days ago, so I went to vacation. Before that, I wanted to do my shopping for my shoe.
Okay.
And, uh,
Is it a sneaker or what kind of
sneaker.
shoe?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was looking for a sneaker,
Yeah.
and actually, I am already a customer for them. They have my information, so I went to their website, and they figured out it's Biswajit or Bales,
Yeah.
and I saw some shoes, and then I just left because I didn't have time, and I'll come back later and see. I started getting their paid display ads in Google or somewhere, wherever I'm going, because I was booking some hotels. I went to their the Expedia or somewhere, and then they
Yeah.
started showing all those ads. Uh, then I started getting some emails, and those things are happening in minutes, not hours, not days, like in minutes. Felt like it's like an invasion on my personal privacy. I
Yeah.
felt, oh, that's not good. So I left that website, or I basically left that company and purchased from a competitor. Uh, so, so like what I feel about any personalization is it needs to be helpful. It needs to be timely, and because sometimes it makes it gives a feeling like it's too creepy. So that's what I felt.
If they're over aggressive, you showed them a tiny bit of interest and they're aggressively
Yeah.
sending ads and other things everywhere. You're like, I can't escape them. My entire world now is this one sneaker company. And then you ended up buying another sneaker. So so that's what not to do. Okay. Now, let's pretend that they did the right thing. What would be an exciting
So if
way for them to make it special for you?
Yeah, so if they did the right thing, they become more timely, wait for some time, maybe 6 hours or 10 hours, 12 hours, and send a nice message with an offer, like saying that, okay, you have seen this one, and this one has, you can, if you do it in certain time frame, you'll get 10% off on the shoe. People will go and buy. So having an offer integrated with the journey would help. Uh,
Right.
because a lot of time when uh, everybody is price sensitive, or most of the people are price sensitive, so when you show some offer with that particular journey, that helps. So I if I'm in their place, I would first uh, give some time to think to the customer that, okay, what, let's wait, let's
Yeah.
let them think what they're going to decide, and then slowly give a nice message saying that, hey, you have seen this product, and uh, if you come in this particular time frame, you can get 10% off, or 10% off from the next buying, something
Yeah.
like that, some kind
Yeah.
of offer. So those, that way you can engage the customer and feel valued, instead of like, okay, you came to my website, now I'll run behind you, something like that.
It's so interesting because I think a lot of times they're like, if I get a signal, just go all in on this, all the tactics. They just bombard you. And what you're saying, these timing pieces, I feel like, so so I know Adobe has the customer journey analytics, customer journey, optimizer. I guess what I'm there's got to be a place where you can put in these timers, right? Some of the MarTech tools, they're either on or off. You just tell it to go, and then it just goes right then and there. And to even slow it down or put that delay in is extra work. Is that kind of something that some of the Adobe tools can help you with? Is that sort of like one of the use cases?
Yes, so we have this, as I was telling earlier, we have this at the end, this Adobe Experience Platform that consolidated all those data, and based on that, we have different journey like pillar. We have Adobe Journey Optimizer, so
Yeah.
that is under the journey pillar, where you can create a full-fledged journey with a timer. So you can say, okay, if the person visited my website, wait for 6 hours, and and it can also pull the offer from the offer decisioning, uh, and say that if they have selected this part set of product, give this 10% discount, and then target them to an email, or target, if they have already have an mobile phone, send them a push notification. So you can have multiple channel communications, and also include or exclude some kind of offers with them.
So whose job is it to go and kind of like come up with all of these different journey campaigns? Do you find that there are like new job titles or who's the best at kind of putting together all the business logic for this? Who are the types of people that you work with?
So generally, with most of my customers, this is the responsibility of the marketing team.
Right. So
They
someone
generally
in
communicate.
marketing.
Some are in the marketing who are really knowledgeable about how to write a journey. It's not so. One of the great thing of Adobe Journey Optimizer, you don't need to write the code.
Right. It's
You
not
have a
coding.
canvas, and you can do you can build the canvas, drag and drop, and it will work. But
So
at
it's
the
very
same
user friendly now to do it, to kind of put together that flow chart or
time,
or yeah.
it is very good for the business users to uh, build that journey. So most of the time, with most of our customers, we are seeing that the marketing team owns this journey optimizer tool, and they build the journey based on certain use cases, or based on certain audiences.
Yeah, I'm just curious because someone may not even know that that's a job that they can, a career path that they can go and pursue. It's like constructing all of these journeys and how all of these different rules work.
So
I
one of recently I have seen in LinkedIn. So this journey optimizer people are in high demand. So as you are
They
talking
are.
about this uh,
Okay. So if
role, so
people
this journey
are
optimizer
listening, are
people are,
looking for a career path, building journeys, this is it. This is a place to lean in.
It's the place
This is a
to.
way to really advance your career. So that's exciting. I mean, I feel like that's the one thing about MarTech and how things evolve here is that it's constantly creating new jobs. And I know one topic that I can't avoid bringing up here is AI. And I know Adobe, does a bunch of things in the AI space. I mean, people still sometimes associate Adobe more with the creative platforms that they've made their name on. But how is AI showing up in different parts of these Adobe tools?
I personally feel so. This we are in a particular critical juncture of this AI systems. Every day you are seeing this new AI things are coming, and at
Right.
the same time we are also unsure where this AI is going. Okay, keeping that in mind, I would personally say that AI innovation is happening, and Adobe is one of the forefront of AI. As you just mentioned, there are multiple types of AI we can talk about, like generative AI or agent AI. Adobe is that creative business like Photoshop and all. So we have this creative uh, generative AI that you can build, write a prompt, and it can give you a picture.
Right.
In this marketing system, we are creating different agentic flows, agentic AI systems. If you think that Adobe's architecture, as I was telling you at the bottom, you have Adobe Experience Platform, and there are three different pillars. In between, we are bringing this agentic AI orchestrator. So we will have different agents that can work independently.
So I get it, and I think people have heard the term agentic AI, but they don't always know what that really means. So what is something that, for example, without AI, it happened this way, but now with agentic AI, there's less steps or there's something else getting done that otherwise wouldn't have been done. What are some of the ideas or just to help people understand what do some of the agents how do they help? What are some of the things that they do?
Yeah, so like if you, by definition, the agentic AI system works is it can do your work automatically. Okay.
Right. Yeah, yeah. But
So
people are afraid of that because they're like, oh no, I don't want to lose my job. Yeah. So
Eh, yeah,
uh,
on that, I will always tell that AI is there not to replace you instead of help you. So don't need to be scared or afraid. Yeah, you need to learn AI. You need to learn how to run AI. That is
yeah.
very important. But at the same time, coming back to this AI journey agent, so we are creating different agents like a journey agent that can build the journey based on a prompt. Okay.
So you say, hey, I would like to generally not annoy people, but I want to send a message to them about 6 or 8 hours later if they haven't come back to us and purchased sneakers that, hey, here's a special piece. And then it can kind of help you build that
Yeah,
journey.
will build the journey, entire journey. But, as of right now, it will not publish. You need to review everything, then publish.
Right. Yes.
Future, maybe it will publish by itself. Okay, when it will become
That,
fully
yeah.
mature.
And I think that's where people worry about it doing something strange that you never wanted it to do. And
Yeah,
how do we give it all
but
the
for
constraints?
now, I would say that it is a helper. So that means if you with a prompt, it can write build your entire journey, but you need to review and find out where are the missing links. Is it even going to work? Are you using correct audiences or not? So at first you need to do a little bit more trial and error and find out how it works, and then build on that. So, but
But
we
it can't tell you what to ask it, right? So that's the one thing is you still need to come up with ideas. You still have to have a vision. You
correct.
still have to start thinking about journeys, about sequences of different actions and communications that you may want to share with people and what that might look like. And then it can really build whatever it is that might help you do that. But you have to
But your brain is yours basically.
it takes a human to coach it.
Yeah, basically, brain is
Right.
yours.
Yeah.
It is your helper to help to build that idea, basically.
Right.
Uh, so you can like we are
So
building.
we went from having to hard code it to now you can sort of construct it with drag and drop thing, to now you can sort of coach it through prompting.
Yeah, so through a natural
Yeah.
language, you can just write something and it can build something. So like we are building different agents, like an agent like site optimization agents, like workflow agents, data
Right.
engineering agents, journey agents. So and it is a multi-agent system. Like each agent can work independently and it can give its input output to each other. So that way, if you write like, okay, build a journey based on this audience and get this particular content, it will bring everything and give it to you. And now you go and validate and okay, everything follows fine with the publish. So that what is actually doing, it is reducing a lot of time and investment from you, where you can think more towards the how to use, how to build the journey instead of, or I would say, you can invest more time towards the strategy part instead of just actually building that.
So it's not just assembling, right? It's like it's power tools, instead of so it allows you to move faster and get more done. So that's exciting. So if you think about just these different areas, what I feel like being the person to kind of do the, type in the directions or come up with those prompts is going to be the high value, the high leverage role in the future. Um, what are your thoughts
Like
on
you're
that?
talking about like a prompt engineering kind of role.
Yes, but that doesn't, just because you know how to engineer a good prompt doesn't mean you know how to engineer a good idea.
Absolutely. So that's what I mean. Like, some time ago, like when this OpenAI came up with this generative AI, and then everybody was saying there will be a new role called prompt engineer, and that already vanished in few days because I personally feel everyone should know how to run an AI system. That's what my personal thought is that everyone should know how to write a prompt, how to write a good prompt.
Yeah,
That way you can run an AI system. Okay, so uh, instead of having a prompt engineer, everybody you should have a skill called prompt engineer inside you, and with your marketing skills. So you need to have a marketing skills and with a prompt engineering skill. If you might need to have a coding skill with a prompt engineering skill. So you need to be able to write code or at least fix code, but you should be able to write a good prompt which can give you a good code and then you can fix that code. Basically, similarly, like for any agentic system, you can write a good prompt. It will build your journey, but you should know what to write. Like
exactly. You
something
should be able to review it and say, I
yeah.
want to tweak a few things here or there. Yeah, and fine tune it. So that sounds great. So we've covered a lot here. I'm kind of curious about sort of lessons from the field, any kind of like tips and tactics. You've been doing this, you're on the forefront of doing this with big customers and large projects. What are some things that people should start to really think about moving forward?
I personally feel that one of the things that always all customers should think when we are talking about marketing and technology is the business value. A lot of time I have faced with my multiple customers interactions that they think from a technology capability first, then they go to the business. I always tell them, no, come back, think about the business values, business objectives, then derive the technologies. That is the first thing, first advice I would like to give to anyone.
Yeah.
Uh, and second thing is learn AI. At
Learn
least,
AI, yeah. Get comfortable with it.
yeah, you don't
Yeah.
need to become a machine learning engineer. You don't need to write machine learning code, but you should know how to give a good prompt so that it can help you to do quickly your day-to-day stops.
All right. Well, thank you. And I hope the listeners here have learned a lot about personalization and how to think about it from an expert. They've also hopefully learned a few things about from your career journey that might help them on their career journeys. As this MarTech world keeps evolving and changing.
Biz, this has been great. The insights that you brought were extremely helpful. I'm sure to anybody who's looking to go into a career in this, especially as you mentioned, customer journeys, everybody in the audience, look into it. There's a lot of opportunity there. So thank you for spending time with us. Learn more about BrainDo and our marketing services on our website at www.brain.do. We can also be found on LinkedIn and other social media platforms with the handle brain.do. If you learned anything helpful from this episode, and if you'd like to see more from us, please consider subscribing or giving us a follow. Otherwise, we'll see you next time at The Roundtable.